if I could go right up to Shin right now, I would just look him in the face and just say, "Oi, Shin, now, do your job." Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now, it isn't a secret that Harrock and I have, let's just say, a bacon-covered beef with the likes of current Supreme Kai of Universe 7, Shin. And over the course of the last couple of years that we've been working together, and for a while before, I might add, we saw that this guy wasn't really cut out to become effectively the Grand Supreme Kai of Universe 7. How did he even get that job originally? Well, he got it by default when Majin Buu and Bibidi, the father of Babidi, took out his comrade Supreme Kais eons ago. Shin was originally the East Supreme Kai of Universe 7 and only got the top role because A, nobody else succeeded the other roles seemingly, and B, he survived. That's it. So today, we are discussing the notion about what might have happened had Shin taken to this job like a space duck to space water. What if he was actually good at his job? So I bet you're thinking, Masako, why are you two so salty about this? Well, Dragon Ball Super in the second half of the Buu saga happened, that's what. So we're going to be changing up the story to make it so that Shin kept that same mysterious aura that he had from the World Martial Arts Tournament, where he was, at the time, the most powerful, or at least the most high-up Kai being that we'd ever seen. Now, we've been used to King Kai for a long time now, and then, in the anime, we saw the Grand Kai, who seemed pretty chill. But then there's a Supreme Kai? Or like a chicken Supreme Kai? Anyway, let's stop talking about food for your tummy, and instead, food for your brain. Because today's sponsor is none other than the holy grail of sponsors, Audible. So for years, I've been listening to various books on this service, such as Red Dwarf, Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers, as well as indulging in my passion for aviation, reading titles like Delta, Glory Lost and Found, and yes, I am a bit of a plane geek, but these aren't the only kinds of books available on Audible. There are as many as you can think of. And if you go to audible.com/MasakoX or text MasakoX to 500 if you're in the US, you can get yourself a 30-day free trial, plus an entirely free audiobook, plus 2 Audible originals at no extra cost. And seriously, that free audiobook, there's no limits. It can be for whatever your mind or heart desires. And with the handy Audible apps for both iOS and Android, you can listen and learn or love or laugh wherever you go. Even if it's on the sofa that I seem to be permanently attached to these days. Oh well, Audible's got my back. So until my next book finishes downloading, we better get on with the what if. Our story starts many years before Goku was even born. We're not talking about the age 737 days of pre-smashed planet Vegeta. No, we're talking about millions of years ago. There is a young Kaioshin who goes by the name of Shin, whom is enjoying a life of peace on the sacred world of the Kais. Now, a Kai's job is simply to oversee the goings-on of their respective territories, and when things seem to be going well, hopefully, you can pretty much relax and play with your fellow sacred people. It seemed like a pretty nice time, all considering. Sadly though, he and his fellow Kais become targets for a monster known as Majin Buu and his master Bibidi. The Buu that we saw wasn't the Majin Buu that we know from the debut of that character, but the original and nasty Kid Buu, the true form of the genie-like terror, and we all know what happens next. Buu absorbs the Grand Supreme Kai, who took the fall, and spares young Shin, back then more of an apprentice who'd just gotten the gig. But this gives him time to destroy the evil wizard and seal the monster deep in the depths of planet Earth. And seriously, it always has to be planet Earth, doesn't it? Why couldn't it just be some kind of derelict asteroid that nobody knows about? Just leave Buu there in the sacred ball or seal ball or whatever. Could you just do that? Anyway, Shin decides to hide it on planet Earth for better or for worse, mostly for worse, and now with Kibito at his side, he wants to live in peace and forget what just happened. Oh wait, no, that's not this timeline at all. In this timeline, Shin decides to take the events that had just happened and learn from them instead of simply hiding from them. Dang it, he's gonna become the best Supreme Kai that ever was, like no one ever was. Right! He eventually becomes the fully blown Supreme Kai in before age 239,856. And with that gig comes a new work colleague. That is, of course, Beerus. Uh-oh. And as we're all too well aware of, Beerus and Shin have had a very fraught working relationship. They do not get along at all, and the only reason they keep each other around is because that their life energies are linked. If one goes, the other goes too. and that is bound to keep the two of them in line. But you'd be surprised what these two could live through. And with this first act, Shin is savvy with the knowledge that his real job is to help sustain life in Universe 7, so he makes sure to contact his new partner in crime, who is responsible for the demolition side of things. Beerus, of course, isn't too happy that this young mook is waking him up from his nap, and with a sense of real bitterness, the cat threatens to trap Shin in a random object, just like he did with his ancestor, the Elder Kai and the Z-Sword, by the way. Initially, Shin is understandably a little bit scared because he's only just started, but he quickly decides to swallow this sense of fear and intimidation. He remembers that Beerus can't hurt him, or else risk his own life. And also, Whis is right there to witness anything that goes down, so I'm pretty sure that Whis wouldn't let anything happen. As a result of this realized sense of control, Shin confronts Beerus about a system that he's figured out that will make both of them happy. To keep balance in the universe, Beerus must no longer target random planets, nor may he destroy any planets that don't pass muster, gastronomically speaking. Now, this isn't as draconian as you might think. Shin is willing to help out with this. In his mind, the planets too polluted to be saved from their own fate, or the ones that are totally lifeless and will never amount to anything that are crumbling on the outside, should be disposed of. Shin also would be gladly willing to provide Beerus with a list of potential candidate worlds to dispose of that he can check out after every nap. He doesn't have to do it right away, he can do it when he's good and ready. This means Beerus doesn't have to do any research, and he has something ready to blow up immediately after he wakes up. He could just knock the cobwebs out of his system. Not bad. Beerus admits that this is pretty handy. Somebody is willing to do half of his job for him while he gets to sleep without any repercussions. Nice. He reluctantly agrees, warning Shin that he still may rely on his own judgment and experience from time to time. But he does appreciate the extra work that the newbie is offering to take on for him. At the same time though, he doesn't want the young Kai to get too ahead of himself. Beerus is the top cat at the end of the day. Despite this bravado, for thousands of years, this system works pretty well, with little to no problem. If there is any life on the polluted planet, for example, Shin makes sure to take its remaining essence and replant it elsewhere on a younger planet, so it can then be reborn in a new way. It's like replanting seeds in better soil. Beerus, meanwhile, rocks up and proceeds to clean up the mess when he's good and ready, which in turn makes him less grumpy and angry. But be that as it may, he is a little more bored with this grunt work. But the biggest problem that Shin has, though, is the policy about intervention with mortals. Now, a Supreme Kai, according to Goasu of Universe 10, is meant to not directly interact with the mortals of their respective universes. They are meant to simply oversee things, much like what Kami does on Earth, but on a much bigger scale. Should Shin overdo it, he might irreparably damage the fragile balance of the cosmos that he's fought so hard to preserve. But mortals will be mortals. As evolution progresses, they're able to contact each other and travel around the universe, which makes it extremely hard to keep track of once interstellar travel becomes a regular thing. Now, what becomes especially troubling are those Saiyans from Sadala, as there is something major going down on that world. Shin sees a lot of potential in them though, as they are a proud warrior race, but some of them are very cruel. In fact, most of them are. The one that takes Shin's interest though is this Yamoshi guy, the OG Super Saiyan God. Shin sees him achieving almost divine powers with the Super Saiyan ritual. He's able to fight off the evil Saiyans relatively easily, but sadly he isn't able to win the outright tussle on his own. So Shin decides the time is right to come on down. So just as Yamoshi is about to be finished by his enemies, Shin and Kibito teleport in, much to the surprise of the evil Saiyans. And before they know it, Shin just wipes out the enemies of Yamoshi. After being healed, Yamoshi comes to his senses, and now he's really confused. Who are you? Why did you save my life? You need to take me back, or else my friends' sacrifice will be for nothing! Shin then explains that the evil Saiyans almost took him out, but knowing how his race works, survival can only make him stronger. Shin also asks the Saiyan why he decided to stand against these oppressors, to which Yamoshi simply explains, well, there was no glory in their victories. A true Saiyan warrior should protect the innocent, not use their strength to assert their dominance. Shin agrees with that noble idea, and then begins to explain properly who he is. He also says that as a Supreme Kai, he's really not meant to intervene in the dealings of mortals, but With threats like the evil Saiyans around and them being a thing, and the species known by the name of the Frost Demons on the rise, there might be a need for a mortal protector. Also, it means that Shin won't get in as much trouble. So he offers Yamoshi a tantalizing proposition, an opportunity to train with him and Kibito, so that he can return one day and properly vanquish the evil Saiyans. Yamoshi reluctantly agrees to this and starts his training. And since the Kais are immortal creatures, I'm sure that they are most certainly able to bestow upon Yamoshi a reprieve from the rigors of aging, whilst in their care. So it's hard to say how many years exactly it took to finish his training. After all, Shin is the de facto Grand Supreme Kai of Universe 7 now. He can do what he wants, so long as he doesn't upset the kitty cat, of course. Also, I reckon that Whis would be willing to help out with whatever Shin wants to do. It's some kind of distraction whenever Beerus is asleep. We all know how interested Whis got with Goku and Vegeta. Shin is also well aware that if Yamoshi can reach his Super Saiyan God form again and become able to use it at will, he would become much stronger than even him or Kibito. Maybe even almost as strong as Beerus. Now that is something to take note of. Speaking of Beerus, when he learns that Shin has taken on a new pupil, who is a mortal of all things, he tries to make the brat feel insecure. "Oh, I was asleep and you were looking for a replacement for me? Are you trying to get rid of me? I sincerely hope that isn't the case, pint size." So Shin dismisses this name calling and instead turns this allegation on its head, and in Beerus' favour. Shin tells Beerus that he heard from Whis that he enjoys a good challenge, and Beerus agrees with that notion. So Shin provides Beerus a plaything to distract himself with, Yamoshi, much like a ball of Yamoshi yarn. "Seems like you've been growing a spine. Alright, I'll play your game. I have been itching for a good sparring match." Beerus is eager to test Yamoshi in battle. The fight itself, though, is pretty similar to Beerus' fight with Goku, with the God, again, being victorious, but at the same time, pretty impressed with the results. Yamoshi isn't, though. He's growing more and more impatient by the day. It's been many centuries of constant training, and he still hasn't been allowed to return to Sadala to set things right. Yamoshi confronts Shin and powers up to the SSG form, ready to demand that Shin take him back to Sadala right now. But he's in luck. Shin is able to diffuse this aggression and agrees that Yamoshi is ready. Well, that was easy. And ready he was. The evil Saiyans are vanquished, shocked to see the Super Saiyan God return after all this time. They thought he was just a legend, but he's real. And with that victory, planet Sadala doesn't get destroyed by internal conflicts, and Yamoshi is able to form a Saiyan protectorate, establishing Saiyans, much like Universe 6, as the protectors of Universe 7. Yamoshi himself is granted eternal life, not immortality, there is a difference, by Shin, and he and his kin respond to various threats around the galaxy, effectively becoming the beginnings of the Galactic Patrol. It also greatly reduces the influence of the pre-Cold Force, as they are now much more careful going about their legitimate business. So instead of simply conquering planets at will, they have to act as simple merchants and really try hard to bargain for these planets. Shin also helps the Namekians after their drought, resulting in a lot more Namekians surviving. The nameless Namekian is still sent away though, and still becomes Earth's guardian. Shin is watching Earth's fate much more closely, as this planet is pretty vital for him, due to the fact that the sealed ball was put there. Buu is still a real menace. Now while Shin's glad that Master Mutaito deals with the whole King Piccolo situation by himself, many years later, Shin decides to send Yamoshi to immediately stop the Red Ribbon Army, as he fears that there might be no hero suited for this task. Yamoshi sends some of his Saiyans to take care of that. He doesn't see this as something that he personally should go and do, using this opportunity as a form of training for them, and they do fulfill the task. The equivalents of Goku, Raditz, and Vegeta might be born, but they have very different names and they have very different lives due to the fact that it all happens on Sadala and there is no monarchy. We like to think that the guys that stop the Red Ribbon Army are the alternate versions of these characters. The last task concerning Earth that comes years later that Yamoshi is given by Shin is connected to Babidi. He learns that the wizard has taken control of the Lord of the Demon Realm, Deborah, and they plan to release Majin Buu from the sealed ball. Now, Yamoshi is pretty confident about his abilities and confronts the two personally. he says that he would love to challenge Majin Buu on his own, so he lends some of his energy to open the ball. Now Shin and everybody around are pretty shocked by this, but he's learned to trust this champion. Buu is also hungry and bored, but he allows Yamoshi to regenerate his power back in order to get a fun fight. Big mistake. The fight is pretty short as Yamoshi goes Super Saiyan God almost at once and vanquishes the beast, taking on Deborah and capturing the wizard. Babidi is then given over to the Galactic Patrol, so they can keep him in custody. Yamoshi explains to Shin that he thought it would take a lot of strain off the Supreme Kai's shoulders if he can get rid of the ticking time bomb once and for all. The two laugh. Seems like they have everything under control. But unbeknownst to them, in the head of Grand Zeno, an idea is sparked. An idea for the grand tournament involving all of the universes. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. Again, thanks to Audible for sponsoring today's video. Get your free 30-day trial, 1 free audiobook, and 2 Audible originals here. Visit audible.com/MasakoX or text MasakoX to 500-500 if you're in the US. So what do you guys think? Can Shin and Yamoshi step up to the plate? How has this new fate of the Saiyans settled with you? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going, and I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!